This episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back. Run it back.
All right, and
This episode of Not Another Gaming Podcast is brought to you by Echo Gear. Do you want to fully optimize your battle stations or even just clear up some space on your desk? Echo Gear has got you covered with their beautifully crafted monitor mounts. Not just one, not just two, but up to 3 monitors. These take 15 to 20 minutes to set up, and their helpline is open 24/7. Make sure to use promo code WickedGood to save 15% off at echogear.com or check out at Amazon. Let's roll right into episode 106 of Not Another Gaming Podcast. Open up your ear-holes, because we're sliding in, boys. We're live right now. Episode 106, Not Another Gaming Podcast. I am here, your favorite internet dads. I'm here, Dr. Bob. I am here with our two beautiful co-hosts, and we have a guest today. But he's setting up his cam, so just we'll get back to that.
Yep.
We're here with and there it is.
There he is.
So we are here, our 2 co-hosts, Papa Dom, Chris P. How are you guys doing today?
I'm great. Pretty good. Just got out of the 9 to 5. I came into a beautiful dinner being cooked on the stove. Can't wait to eat it. Nice early episode. I'm loving it. So it's going pretty good. Gonna have a good, great weekend too. So it's your boy Papa Dom here.
Chris, how you doing, pal?
I'm coming down with a little bit of a cold, but I've been worse. Overall, I'm doing great. Dom, also, congrats on the love, showing up home to a nice meal for you. Wow, can't relate. You know what I got tonight? A sub from the sub shop around the corner. You know how many times I've had that already this week? And it's Tuesday? Twice. I had it yesterday, too. You know how many times I will have it this week? Probably like 4 times.
What kind of sub was it, though? Real quick. Sub type.
It was a roast beef sub.
Okay. All
Dude, you got to get some vegetables in your diet, dude. You're gonna get pretty big just eating sub sandwiches. Jesus Christ.
No, I know. That's why I get lettuce and tomato on them.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's pretty much a salad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's essentially a salad.
And tuning in right there is our very special guest. As you guys know, we tend to have guests on, every so often, and we have one here with us today. And I would like to introduce our guest for episode 106 of Not Another Gaming Podcast, Rui, aka Rurikhan. What's going on, pal? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do in the video game industry?
Well, I mean, as a lot of people like to point out, basically I just sit on my ass and play video games all day. That's pretty much what I do.
Living the dream.
In all honesty, I'm a gaming content creator. I've been I pretty much I select games that I kind of like, and I try to show them to people and see if they might enjoy them as well. But on top of it, I try to make sure that people enjoy themselves. Like the very first video I ever created, I wanted to teach people how to tank in World of Warcraft, because people seem to make it like, oh, it's impossible to be a tank in World of Warcraft. And then eventually later down the line, I did a series of videos to kind of tell people, Dark Souls is not as hard as everybody is making it out to be. People just really like to be elitists about it. And it's always been about that. More recently, something that I've found a little bit more success with is Monster Hunter World, and doing tutorials about weapons so that people could play Monster Hunter World, which, by the way, now has a free trial, I think, that just launched like yesterday or something. So good time to join in on Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of, that's how I found your YouTube channel.
Not surprised at all.
Right when Monster Hunter World launched for PC over the summer, I, along with a group of my gaming buddies, I wasn't all that hyped for it because I've never played the game. I've never played any of the Monster Hunter games before, but I guess 2 of them have, and they said they couldn't wait to play it. And it launched. I had no fucking clue what I was doing, and we started playing. And I was just on YouTube all day at work looking up tutorials and weapon guides and armor sets and like progression styles on everything that I should be doing as I go along. And then we ended up playing that game every single day for a month and a half. And then we semi-occasionally go back to it for events.
For the events and stuff like that. Yeah. It's been basically, in my personal opinion, and I'm not like a huge Monster Hunter guy from the previous titles or anything like that, but in my opinion, Monster Hunter World has been the single biggest evolutionary step in that franchise.
Yeah,
which is
it's incredibly accessible to people who have never played any of the games before.
You know what stood out to me a little bit, which is nice because we're in 2018 and this is such a great time. You could go on YouTube and watch tutorials and like tips and tricks on video games instead of buying a fucking like Game Informer or whatever those books were called. When you like flip through every page and like you had to go on these websites with like porn popping up to find like cheat codes, like little
Get distracted for a couple hours, just
you completely forget you're playing a game.
And not to mention that back in those days, say for instance, the game, I guess in those days, games didn't receive that many updates either way. But, if something changed within the game, you're like, well, I guess my guide is useless now. Where nowadays you can just go back to the YouTube channel, like, oh, here's an updated thing. There you go.
Exactly. And they come out by the minute instead of you have to wait for next month's edition to figure out what happened.
Speaking of, that happened so many times with the release of Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Like specifically with the zombies section of the game, where zombies came out, content creators would make Easter egg guides to them, and then a week later they updated like two of the steps in the Easter egg, and content creators were just like, all right, what the fuck am I supposed to do now? Like, do I have to just completely make a new video? Well, thanks, Treyarch. But yeah, it was that happens I wouldn't say fairly often now. But anyway, welcome to episode 106. It's great to have you on. I guess we can slide into a segment, little Wicked Good Gaming, weekend recap. The weekend recap. Dude, I just fucking woke up from a nap and I am not all here right now.
I realize that you guys are like changing your usual schedule for me. I appreciate that because like in Portugal it's like 11 p.m. right now, so it's actually quite late. But
oh man, that's my bedtime. Props to you for being up.
We got one of our favorite people, one of our favorite viewers of the show. Our boy Joe is in Scotland as well, so we know he's always up mad late to watch us. So I'm sure, hopefully I was expecting him to be in here by now, but I don't even know if the guy is in the house. I mean, he's probably having dinner.
Wow.
I was actually in Lisbon, Portugal last year for a wedding, so that was absolutely gorgeous. So I kind of miss it, really. And by kind of, I mean I cry myself to sleep every night that I'm not there.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Lisbon. I think we have prettier places in Portugal, but Lisbon is the capital, so there you go.
I'll try it out. I'll try out some other places if you'll have me.
Oh yeah, sure.
All right, so before I had a minor seizure. Why don't we do a weekend recap?
Hey, I'm down, Bob.
Yeah, let's do a little weekend recap.
All right.
Rurikhan, what did you get into over the weekend?
I mean, over the weekend, pretty much just Super Smash Brothers. I've been playing it almost nonstop since it came out because I'm not a big Smash player per se, but I always try to get into certain games. And Smash is a game that I've been wanting to get into. And now that it's on the Switch, because you know that nobody had the Wii U. So when Smash 4 came out, there was nobody to play with.
Right.
But this one's on the Switch. A lot of people are getting Switches right now. It's actually a pretty good time to get one with all the games that are lined up for that system. So I'm trying to get into a little bit more of that and trying to learn the the ins and outs of Smash, which is, even though it seems like a really accessible game for people that have never played it, sure, it's easy enough. You do your specials to the sides and whatnot, but to actually, master that game is completely insane.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, people have been playing that for so long. How long have you been playing it for?
I mean, since this one came out, I mean, Smash 4 I played a little bit, but I wouldn't say that I got into it all that much. So pretty much.
Yeah, I hear. So do you feel like there's a big not learning curve, but there's a big divide on people who have pretty much been playing Smash all like forever compared to the people that are just picking it up?
Oh, straight up. There's going to be a massive divide. And not only that, but the play style of each individual person is also completely different. So like you have the really veteran players that are into competitive mode. They're like, no, none of this stage hazard, no items, no nothing. They just want like the pure fight, right? And then you have the other people that are more casual and they're like, oh no, give me items and weapons and all the crazy chaotic stuff that can happen in a match. So there's not only the vibe, but there's also so many different things that you get to experience in that game that
I would like that though. That sounds really cool. Just because people are gonna learn how to play differently. They're gonna be more well-rounded. They're gonna have to say, like in a competitive scene, you're gonna have like the millennials and the newcomers who are picking up all the weapons and doing all the crazy shit, and then they're gonna meet one of the old school fighters at the end, like in a competitive setting. It's just gonna be cool to see how they tee off against one another. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think basically the older competitor is going to beat the crap out of them.
Yeah, every time.
It's just-
Oh yeah, 100%, dude. Oh yeah.
So I think of it like this way. If you think of professional sports, so like put like Steph Curry or like one of these big time basketball players right now on the court with a superstar back in the day. You don't think the new school would beat the old school? It's a completely different game now. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you put them at their peak physique form,
In the same, yeah, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Dude,
I think, but it's like basket. I don't know. I'm not a big sports guy, so I probably couldn't tell you. But
there's no comparison, but it's a physical sport and then a video game. There's no comparison between
I think
the
there
physical input involved.
I think there is. If you think of baseball, think of baseball in the past. Baseball, it's a lot of a mental game. You have like milliseconds to be able to decide if you want to swing, take the pitch, bunt, or anything like that. But people back in the day, they weren't necessarily pumping 105 miles an hour on their fastball. But the people are. That's like it's common to hit at least 100 miles an hour. So it's like it would be. It's kind of like I think it does to an extent. It makes sense. All right, we can recap. Let's do that. So I went on a tangent. Yeah. My bad. That's me.
Chris, what'd you do? What'd you do this weekend?
So I went away with like 12 of my buddies. We went deep into the heart of Maine. So we drove like 5 hours into Maine. We rented out a house out there, and it was an absolute blast. They all went skiing, snowboarded. I slept in. I said, you guys have a great day. Like, you go out, you snowboard, you ski. I'm going to be up. I'm going to be cooking eggs and bacon. I'm just going to be having a good time. So many people were so hungover from the night before that I had like a full house. I thought it was just going to be me in the morning, but it wasn't. Long story short, it was really good to get away, disconnect for a while. It was like super cold out there. I'm talking like single digits, negative digits. And we had a jacuzzi on the deck. We had a fireplace. It was just nice. It was a really romantic setting just for 12 dudes. So it really makes a boy feel lonely, you know what I mean? And all in all, it was good to disconnect. I drank like a fish, still kind of feeling it. But yeah, now I'm back to real life. It's a week. Get into work.
So you don't like snowboarding?
So I've never been. That's the thing. I've never snowboarded. I've never skied. I'm a big guy and big tree falls hard, and I really don't want to get hurt trying it right now, especially on a ski resort where it's actually people that do this year round.
Let me give you an advice.
Okay, let's hear it.
Snowblades. Try out snowblades. It's basically a smaller form of skis, so they're a lot easier for you to maneuver in. I feel they're a lot more beginner friendly, but like you'll see people go crazy speeds on those things. Like some people will say, "Oh no, but skis are easier and all that." I used to be much bigger than I am now, and I did snowblades, and I felt that those were a lot easier for me as well.
Snowblades, huh? I feel like that's close to like ice skating. You know what I mean? Well, closer to ice skating than skiing is. That's why it's a little more easy to.
Dude, I just tell. I had a blast with those damn things. It's like because I tried skis, didn't like them. Tried snowboards, wasn't able to sit for 4 days, and then I did snowblades, and snowblades was like the best. It's just like it's like a ski, but it's super smaller, and you don't need like the batons, so you're just like you're set, you're good.
All right, next time I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. I'm gonna actually not be a lazy piece of shit next time. I'll do something.
Oh, there you go.
See, I just booked my flights to Lake Tahoe. I actually booked them on Friday, I think.
Yeah.
My buddy Mark Manara from high school, he moved out to California last year, over the summer, I think. And all of him and his buddies from BC are going up to Lake Tahoe, and it's over my birthday weekend. So Mark and them invited me. So my birthday weekend next month, baby, cracking out the snow. I gotta go get my snowboard waxed and sharpened, and I gotta find my knee brace, and I gotta stretch. I gotta stretch a lot because
I know a place you can go to get your snowboard waxed.
Where?
Just sorry.
I mean, like, that sounded really bad.
I mean, like,
took over for a second.
I mean, like, I have to get it waxed and sharpened. I don't know. Is this a sexual thing?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, all right. Okay,
you're getting your snowboard waxed. Yeah, I mean, you're getting your dick waxed.
Okay, I see. No, I got a buzzer for that stuff. Anyway, Dom, what'd you do this weekend?
Nice.
Thanks for asking, Bob. I got into a little sauce on Saturday night. That was that happened. We had our one of our friends' annual Christmas party or holiday parties. Their family is Jewish, so they lit their menorah. I actually helped. I was enlisted to help light the third candle. The candle immediately blew out. It knew I had my hands on a New Testament at some point, so I pretty much ruined Hanukkah. So go Dom. Did a couple haircuts, had a couple beers, ate a lot of pizza, pet a couple dogs. Pretty all in all a pretty complete Saturday, if I do say so myself.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty unbelievable. Been playing a lot of Destiny 2. I got the Forsaken expansion for like $20 over Black Friday weekend, so I've been catching up on a lot of content that I've missed over the last year. And I got to tell you, it's exhilarating to have like a year's worth of shit to do and just like blowing through it. It's been a lot of fun to like just every single thing that I'm picking up, I'm leveling up. And just every single thing I pick up I can use, which is awesome. So I'm excited to continue doing that. I think that's pretty much it. I don't remember really doing much else. I got bounced in my big money fantasy football league. That kind of sucked. But I moved on in the 2 other leagues that I'm in, so that's pretty good. So it kind of helps me to know that like the other guy that I was playing, his team just like went bonkers, and no matter who I played, like on my bench or otherwise, like it just wasn't going to happen. So I mean, it helps me regain some sleep at night knowing that there was nothing I could do about it. It just wasn't the will, the force. So that's pretty much it. Just been catching up on some games, seeing some friends over the holidays and working myself to the bone. So
hey. Dude, I was watching your Snap stories when you were at that party. Looked like a great party. That dog was adorable. Absolutely adorable.
Yep. Shout out to Sandy.
You are a 45-year-old man that does a haircut still. So props to you. That just fit. But you don't really get hangovers, right?
Not really, no. I mean, you've drank with me.
I don't understand that at all. It's like I smell booze and I can't talk to anyone the next day.
Yeah,
I'm the youngest one.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I have better conditioning, I guess. I just drink at high altitude, so that way when I come down here and I just go to like house parties in West Roxbury, I don't have to worry about it. We also had my work's holiday party on Thursday, which was at Lucky Strike, so it was just like free video games, free booze, and free food, and that was just an absolute riot. I think I have like 8,000 tickets. I hit jackpot on Wheel of Fortune twice. And so I'm gonna have to go back there at some point and figure out how many tickets I actually won. Come home with like 5 or 6 erasers. You know what I mean? Call it a day. So
nice, dude. Nice. I didn't actually. I kind of did some things this weekend. Friday, I got out of work and immediately, for some reason, my buddies from Revere said, "You know what? Let's go booze." And the reason why they all wanted to booze is because none of their girlfriends were in town this weekend.
Ooh.
So
I know.
The first. The first weekend all of their girlfriends are out. We ended up at Buffalo Wild Wings. I think we went through about 12 pitchers of Bud Light. We left there already drunk. Where the hell did we went to Valare afterwards for some reason? And me drunk trying to flex my fucking debit card. I'm like, all right, dude, shots on me. Let's go. I'm pretty sure I spent like $250 on Friday night. I don't, dude.
Jesus Christ. At Valare, nonetheless. So
right.
After you finish, remind me to tell you about how I quit Buffalo Wild Wings when I worked there.
Just say it now.
All right. So I was a cook at Buffalo Wild Wings. And one day I was in the back and I was swamped, just like cooking shit.
Oh,
and
I remember this.
Everyone was, their section was clear. I don't know if you guys have ever worked in like the food industry, but everyone has a different section when you're a line cook. And I was on a section where you made like sandwiches and wraps and shit like that. Everyone else had nothing to do, and I was drowning. I was super flustered. I had like 15 tickets in a row I had to do. Just was not good. I turned around, everyone's sitting there just hanging out, listening to music and stuff, and something just in me snapped. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this place. So I casually undid my apron, took it off, walked around, started giving knuckles to everyone. I was like, oh, it's been a pleasure working here, but I quit. Like, for real? I go, yeah. And they're just like, actually, I go, yeah. And they're like, oh, all right. Yeah, Chris, fuck this place. Like, now they're on my side.
Dude, it's just like the scene from Waiting at the end where he's like, all right, I'm out. Fuck you, fuck you,
Yeah.
fuck you, fuck
You're
you, you're cool, and fuck you. Oh, and wait a second. Fuck you.
My thing was I had no manager in the back, so like when I said I quit, I was just telling people who were in the same position as I was. So I didn't. I was scared of confrontation. I was like, I'm not even going to tell the manager. I'm just going to slip out the back door. So I grabbed my jacket off the back door, threw my hoodie on, walked straight out. They haven't heard from me since. This was like 3 years ago.
That's like the guy from The Office. He just goes like, "Oh, I'm not gonna go to work anymore," and people are like, "So you're gonna quit?" It's like, "No, I'm just gonna not go."
Why
And he
can't
got
I remember what
promoted.
that was?
Did you get promoted too, or did that not work out for you?
Oh, I think it was Ryan. Was it Ryan?
Yeah, he's like, I'm just
Yeah.
like not gonna go to
Yeah.
work anymore.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like that though.
No, wait, it's
Well-
not The Office. It's Office Space. My bad. It's a movie. It's not the series. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I would have remembered that because I've watched The Office 5 times.
No. It's Office Space. It's
I don't know if I saw that. Might have been before my time.
really
Well-
good movie.
After I started buying everybody fucking pistachio shots of Valari, bomb, by the way, it doesn't matter. I don't care how shitty that
so
place
good.
is. Pistachio shots, you can never go wrong with, 3 to 12 of them.
Oh, they're so good.
Somehow, this is just the full ringer of like shitty places to go to around here. Guess where we ended up next?
Mix 360.
Yeah, of course we ended up at Mix 360.
Jesus, you really hit
No
for the cycle the other
fucking
night, huh?
course, dude. We really did, dude. But like, as shitty as it was, just ending up at Mix, it was really good because we all ended up going out except for Frank, and Frank is getting married and having a child. So we were all able to, initially set the basis for what we want to do for his bachelor party, and we're setting everything up. Where like all of us that are going to be in the wedding, we all went out earlier and we set everything up. So it was pretty productive.
Nice. Mix 360 for the bachelor party. That'd be nice.
Absolutely not, dude.
how you-
He'd go there too.
That's how you know Rob's had a couple when he just goes to those places. Like, I asked Rob maybe 2:00 on a Wednesday. Hey Rob, what do you think about Mix 360 on Friday? Absolutely not. Block my number. Block me. Block me on everything.
Yeah, and then I take 3 pitchers of Bud Light to the face at Buffalo Wild
like-
Wings.
Let's go. And he's doing the Apache dance in the middle of Mix 360 with the bartender.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my
dude.
God.
Saturday didn't do anything. I gamed, played Ring of Elysium. Actually, I re-downloaded Quake Champions again because it deleted itself off of my computer 3 times. Started getting back
I was
into
trying
that a
to
little
tell
bit.
you something.
Yeah, for sure. No, the game's just trying
yeah.
to tell you something. It's deleting itself. It doesn't want
No,
you to...
it's the fucking Bethesda launcher. The Bethesda launcher was, I don't know what happened to it, but it just deleted everything that I owned off of it twice.
Don't
And I had to
blame me.
reinstall them.
Bethesda launcher is completely flawless, dude. What the hell
No.
are you talking about? And Fallout
just-
76 is a perfect game. Game of
Just-
the year contender, right
Just
there.
like
Oh,
Fallout
wait till Dom
76.
comes back. He'll say something about that. Dom loves 76 right now.
I mean, I don't love it, but I like it. It's not that bad.
You tweeted about it every day for the past month and a half.
No, I haven't. Pull up my tweets, dude. Pull up the receipts. I tweeted about it today. I said, Fallout 76 is good. That's what I said. That's literally, that was the whole tweet.
That is a bold statement. And
Yeah,
a lot
I don't
of
know if-
people
It's not like
will
Fallout
physically
76
assault
Game of the Year, don't at me. It was Fallout 76 is good.
I don't know. It seems like a stretch to me.
People will physically assault you for that statement.
That's
and
all
I'm
right.
not even
I got the
joking.
fucking paws run up on me. You know where to find me.
Yeah. Tom, I'm not backing you up in this one because I'm on their side.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. So I didn't really do anything besides gaming on Saturday. Kaylee and I hung out, and that's about it. We watched more Sabrina, which again, show's not bad. I'm still waiting for it to pick up a little bit, but it's not bad. But it's weird that the games that I've been playing most recently are all either older games or games that were discounted prices, like lower, not full retail prices, or just free games outright, like Ring of Elysium, free game that you could pay to get an adventure pass and go through the tiers, which leads me into our first topic tonight. What is the last full-priced AAA title you purchased that you feel you got all of your money's worth of? Because over the past few weeks, games like Fallout 76 have come out, full price, $60 release, AAA, or even a $200 collector's edition where they gypped you on a canvas bag for some reason.
With that trash bag.
Yeah, with a vinyl trash bag. And then the game went on sale within 10 days to $30 on Target. And then after Fallout 76 came Battlefield 5, full AAA release. The game came with a quarter of the initial content at release, where there was 75% of the game missing, saying, "Oh, this will release like mid-December," and then the game again subsequently dropped in price to $30.
That happens every Black Friday though. That happens every Black Friday.
But
there's like 4 or 5 AAA games that are like $30 or $40.
Yeah, but it doesn't happen to companies that are confident in their game like Rockstar.
It won't actually happen. Like if the AAA game is particularly successful, like they might discount it like maybe 10%. I think I've seen good games on Black Friday, but if your game's trash, like then it will go down 50. I've heard people say that they found it at like 70% discount. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
It's always the annual stuff. The annual stuff is what gets, like, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and Madden, NHL, FIFA, all that stuff is going to be $20, $30, $40 on Black Friday. All the annual stuff is always discounted. Like, if you buy a COD game at launch, like, I feel bad for you because you're just going to be able to get it. You're going to be able to get it for $30 on Black Friday. So wait for Santa Claus.
Assassin's Creed is like they pretty much pay you to take it.
Dude, Assassin's Creed is fucking fantastic also. So, I mean, that game is amazing.
God. We are not going to agree on that. You're talking about Odyssey?
Yeah, dude. If you played it?
Yeah, I have.
I think it's really good.
Thank you, Q, for the 2,500 bits, if I'm counting right. 1,500. Yep, 1,500. Dude, again, I woke up like 15 minutes ago.
Got 3 degrees. So the last game that I played that I got all my money's worth out of, I think, honestly, was probably Breath of the Wild. Bought Breath of the Wild like with my Switch, and I bought it. I bought my Switch for Breath of the Wild, to be honest, and that was like the only game on the platform that I wanted to play, and I have gotten every single penny and then some out of it. I bought the online pass. The expansion pass or whatever they call it. They just they like refuse to call it DLC. It's like the expansion pass or the content whatever the fuck it is. I bought the thing that was $20 and you get more stuff, and that's still good. I'm still playing it. It's actually pretty challenging, so I feel like I've gotten a ton of time out of it. That's easily far and away the game that I've played on the Switch most, and I've probably put about 85 hours into it. Easily my highest clocked game on there. I've gotten every single penny out of the like $63.74 that I paid for it, and then some. Dude,
it gives me the warm fuzzies just to hear talk about that game.
Yeah,
that was my game of the year last year. I friggin' love that game. I haven't even done the DLC either, but it's just such a really well crafted game. You can feel the passion when you are playing through that game.
Every little bit. I mean, it's a love letter to like anybody who's ever played a Zelda game, whether you're brand new to the franchise, whether you've played 2 or 3 of them, or whether you've been playing them since you were a kid. There's something for everybody, and it's the pinnacle of the pinnacle of franchises. Like there really is just that's probably one of like a top 5 game of the decade for me. Really, really good stuff. And I mean, out of the last couple, like it's so good. Like I always like forget where I'm at, and I'll jump right back in and I'll start playing it again, and I'm like, damn, this I did that final boss fight like 6 times, and I get chills just thinking about it. I mean, just so goddamn good. So that's me. Chris, what about you?
Oh man, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with
Counter-Strike.
No, I was gonna say Counter-Strike, but that was so long ago, and like I really haven't gotten my money's worth of it. Like I go back to it every little like here and there. As for a game,
is it free to play now?
Yeah. I bought the game a month ago for $20, and now it's free to play.
No, it's not free to play. It's just dumb cheap, I think.
No, it's free to play. They went free to play at the VGAs.
Yeah. No way. Hold on.
Yeah, dude. When you know a game is free to play if Matty D downloads it and it's not Fortnite.
Wow. All right. Well, yeah, I guess I got my money's worth on that game too. There's one game in my life where like I did not get off the computer for years of my life, and that was like a game. I don't even know if it's considered paying full price because I got it for Christmas, but I was like 10 years old. It was the game Black Hawk Down.
Oh no!
Dude, I'm telling you. It was like
no!
Old school First-person shooter graphics were horrendous, but this is when I first got introduced to like playing with other people. That wasn't my brother who watched the replay after he would dunk the ball on slow-mo every single time. Wow, this was like actually playing with people that I didn't know, and that's when I first got introduced to TeamSpeak and Ventrilo, and like them putting together some sort of like all-star teams within certain those like divisions in the game. It was like East Coast, West Coast. They would make a like an all-star team. People would try out for it and whatnot, and there was like everyone knew who the best player in the game was. Long story short, you had to pry me off of my chair when I was like 10, 11, 12 years old, and to the point where like I would be taking a shit, and I'd call one of my buddies that like didn't expect a call from me at all. Like, hey, how's it going? Like, hey, what's up? What are you doing? I was like, nothing. I have a question for you. What's your favorite map in Black Hawk Down and why? And we'd sit on the phone for like, it was the most whack shit in the world. But it like took over my life. I learned how to mod stuff. I learned how to like create my own hacks for the game. I got banned. I got unbanned. I made a fake name. I made it into a clan, and they found out I was the person that cheated a couple months ago. It took over my whole life. I blamed my brother for the aimbot. I was like, my brother was on my system and he downloaded an aimbot. My brother doesn't know how to work a computer. I mean, it was just a game that really, really kind of turned it on for first-person shooters for me. Other than that, I would say Grand Theft Auto 5. I got my money's worth in that game.
Yeah, dude, nice. Thanks, Moochinator, for the host. So this is tough because like Red Dead Redemption, I would have paid. That's an easy sell on me. I would have paid $100 for that game. God of War, I got discounted because I had a code when I bought my PS4. But that's another game I would have paid $100 for easy. And then Monster Hunter Worlds is the one outlier behind all of that, because if I never played any of the games beforehand, I would have had no idea that the game was going to be so good, which is why it sticks out so much more to me, because it's a game in a franchise I was completely unfamiliar with. I dropped $60 on release when I was telling my friends, like, dude, why are we playing this? PUBG is in its prime right now. Like an absolute fucking idiot. Dude, PUBG is smoother than ever, guys. Why do you want to play Monster Hunter World? And then we all dropped 60 bills on it, and we played it for 200 hours each, I think. We all put in like 200 hours into that game. Every single day after work, every day on the weekends, we would get on, we would go hunt shit, and then we would just grind, and that was it. 200 hours straight.
Yeah, like 2 weeks after Bob got that game, he goes, hey, guess what? Guess how many hours I have in Monster Hunter? And I was like, I don't know, Bob, like 5, 10. He was like 65. I was like, oh, okay.
I alerted everybody when I broke the 100-hour mark. I was like, oh, boom, there it is. 19 days after purchase. But yeah, I mean, it's so weird too, because I bought games like Call of Duty and I bought the season pass for $100, and that game was such a letdown upon release. Like the beta, I talk about this all the time, but the beta for Call of Duty Blackout was the best battle royale experience I've ever had. And then the actual Blackout comes out with a release, and they cut the servers down from 60 hertz to 20, and it's practically unplayable. Mm-hmm. There's too much desync. You're getting shot around corners. Your hits aren't registering. Multiplayer was a little too different for me to, try to hook me in. The time to kill change was way too big in my opinion, and I think it kind of pushed veteran Call of Duty players like aside a little bit for a more casual audience. And zombies was completely bugged for the first 3 weeks of release, and I mean that and Blackout were the biggest draws for me. And Blackout couldn't run properly, and zombies would crash on me when I got past round 30. So, dude, it was such a letdown.
After the beta for Blackout, that game really screwed the pooch, in my opinion. That was they just completely changed it, and there was such good feedback that they got for what they had on Blackout, and I feel like once they actually dropped it, it was nothing like the beta. Like not even close. Like the time to kill was completely different. Yeah, they added a bunch of shit that didn't need to be added. I don't know. I feel like they just prematurely just threw shit in.
The biggest problem was the first like 2 weeks upon release, because the server hertz were so low at 20. If you would shoot somebody and you would only get like 3 hit markers, when in reality you put half a clip into somebody. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, if somebody had like a little bit higher latency than you, and they're on the server with their latency, they would get these things called like power burst or something, like power shots, where the first shot would hit for like three bullets, and then you're already at half health at that point. I don't know. The game, all they need to do is literally all they need to do is bump the server hertz back up to 60, and it'll be the best battle royale experience out. But until they do that, I refuse to play it.
I'll let you finish. Actually, my bad. I'll let you finish right after this. But I get what you're saying, but zombies not being what you wanted it to be, and Blackout not being what you want it to be. But I am in on competitive Blackout 4 now. After watching Optics come back against E United, that completely changed my mindset on it. This game is actually entertaining to watch in the competitive scene. I haven't had this much fun watching competitive Call of Duty since like Black Ops 2.
Oh, you're talking about multiplayer?
No, I'm talking about multiplayer competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. That was interesting.
It was
regardless, those are my picks. Red Dead, I would have paid $100 for. God of War, easy would have paid $100 for. Monster Hunter World, I would have paid $100 for. And those are the most. Dude, those are the. These games have brought me so much joy from playing them. I would have gotten rid of every other fucking shit game that I played this year just to play those three. And I'd still, mix in a little PUBG from time to time and hate myself afterwards. Rurikhan, what about you?
Well, I mean, for me, I would definitely have to go with Monster Hunter World as well. I hate to pick the same thing, but I mean, this is a game that I've already sunk over 1,600 hours into at this point.
All right, I look like a chump, thanks.
It's just like I've gotten way too addicted to it, and whenever there's a new event, a new thing, I'm always playing and checking out the next thing. We've just had like a new announcement yesterday. They're going to be doing like a big expansion next year and a couple of new events. They're even bringing in Geralt from The Witcher 3. Like, you're going to get a crossover event with Geralt. Like, they're doing stuff to Monster Hunter that's never really been done before. And not only that, I feel like they're probably one of the teams, and I say teams instead of publishers because Capcom does, it's weird because like, whereas the Monster Hunter Capcom does an amazing job with its consumers, then you have the Street Fighter V Capcom that wants to put advertisements in Street Fighter V, and I'm just left wondering, what the hell are you even thinking right now? Like, what is going through those heads? Like, I don't get it. But I really think that they're bringing a lot of value with all of these events and all of this content that they're doing, because it's like, how we've gotten used to games basically having cosmetic microtransactions, right? We've kind of been formatted to accept that as a thing. But Monster Hunter does that. You can buy a couple of cosmetic things off of the store, but at the same time, it gives you a ton of free cosmetic options that actually look good. That aren't like trash that makes you just wish that you would go to the store and buy the other ones. They actually give you good alternatives, and I'm just like, dude, there's so much value in there that it's completely insane to me. So that one takes it, and if I had to pick another one just to not repeat over the years, I'd have to say it was Dark Souls 1.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, like, it's like if two of my favorite games of all times, it's Monster Hunter World and Dark Souls 1. I friggin' love Dark Souls and everything that it even did for the gaming genre as a whole. Because, after Dark Souls came out, I think was when developers started understanding, hey, we can actually do challenging games. People will actually buy this stuff. And they stopped doing games that pretty much played themselves. Because I almost feel like before Dark Souls, a lot of the games that came out pretty much played themselves. Like, you could just mash like the square button or the X button on Xbox controller, run through a game and finish it. And you would finish it. Like, that would be all the requirements. And after Dark Souls, we started getting a lot more challenging games, a lot more games that would not be like, hey, it's okay to kill the player. This is fine. They're supposed to die. It's a video game. Like, not everybody is supposed to just make it through on their first run. So those are the two games that I would go for.
Dark Souls is one of my favorite franchises of all time. We play D&D every Monday, and I've been saying for a while, if I ever DM a campaign, it's going to be, because I don't want any of my friends to know besides Dom, because I told him already, and he just has to fucking deal with it. I'm gonna like create a world and slowly start introducing settings and characters from Dark Souls 1, and then like 2 or 3 months into the campaign, just be like, hey, guess what, guys? You've been playing Dark Souls 1 the entire time. You're all a bunch of fucking idiots. That's what you get for hating on me for liking Dark Souls.
Wow, people hated on you for liking Dark Souls?
Oh,
Bunch
yeah, all
of
the time.
casuals.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bunch of get good, you scrubs. How do you feel about Dark Souls 2? Because I am a Dark Souls 2 defender / apologist.
Okay, so Dark Souls 2 to me is a very easy thing, which is Dark Souls 2 is potentially the worst Dark Souls game.
Yes,
but
I can agree with that.
It is still a good game. That's where I stand. A lot of people say, "Oh no, it's terrible because of this and that." The other, it's like my main complaint about Dark Souls 2 is that whenever you lock on to your enemies, it feels like your character is walking on molasses.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem that I have with that game. But other than that, I think the game has brought a lot of new and interesting mechanics like the dual wield and, just more stuff, the variety of weapons. The problem with Dark Souls 2 is that it extended itself way beyond its welcome. Like I was ready for Dark Souls 2 to be pretty close to finishing when I got to the Mirror Knight. I think that was what his name. I haven't played Dark Souls 2 in ages. And I was like, oh, I must be pretty close to the end. And then you get the Shrine of Amana, which is one of the worst areas in the game. And I was like, dude, what is this? And you can't even walk properly there. You have to look onto the water to see whether or not you're going to fall down a cliff. And the game graphics don't even show you precisely whether or not you're going to fall down a cliff. Dude, that was super frustrating for me. But other than that, I still enjoyed the game. It's just, it's the worst Dark Souls game, but it's still a good game. That's the
right. So what I tell everybody who is unfamiliar with the Dark Souls franchise is Dark Souls 2 is probably the easiest entry point into the franchise, just because I personally believe this, based on difficulty, the game isn't as hard as 1 or 3. I think 1 is the peak level of difficulty out of all of them. I think 3 is a good ending point for the story, and I think 2 is probably the best place to get in if you want to build like a crazy tank character. You could one shot pretty much anything in the game that isn't a boss, and that's what I did when I played through Dark Souls 2 3 times. I just played ultra greatsword characters, and you literally one shot everything. But beyond that, I mean, Dark Souls 1 is easily the best in the franchise. Dark Souls 3 was a great spot to end all of it. And I actually just bought Bloodborne with when I bought my PS4. So when I'm finally done with God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Spider-Man, I'll then be able to play Bloodborne. But regardless, I'm glad you at least think it's a good game at the bare minimum.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hands down, a lot of people always sometimes give me hate over this stuff and saying, oh, Dark Souls 2 is terrible. It was atrocious for the franchise. And I'm just like, no, it was just not as good as Dark Souls 1. Dark Souls 3 is also not as good as Dark Souls 1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there you go.
So I also wanted to touch on, a lot of people have been arguing that 2018 has been the greatest year for gaming for this current generation of consoles. And my argument is 2018 is both the greatest year and the worst year for gaming in this generation. And I want to know what you guys think on this, but to delve a little deeper into it, we get exclusive games like Spider-Man, God of War. We get juggernauts like Red Dead Redemption that come out that define single-player AAA games, especially in a climate where games as a service, free-to-play, or buying passes and extended DLC, or getting limited content upon release for AAA games. We have huge standouts this year. But then we're also getting games that, release with a quarter of the contents. We get games that release broken, like Fallout. We get games that release, with paywalls. Everything's locked behind paywalls and predatory microtransactions. So in my personal opinion, I think 2018 was a revolution for the best games, especially the exclusives, but also a huge kickback and hindrance to pretty much everything else that people are just following the climate and the trends of games as a service, and they're using predatory transactions to, take advantage of the customer base. So I want to know what you guys think about this.
I think, well, hey, first of all, Lorenzo, what's up, boy? Second of all, I think for me, this is why this has been the worst year the most insufferable year in gaming that I can remember. And part of it is due to what Rob was saying and the fact that, unfortunately, there have been a lot of companies that have had to have been like called out and gone after for predatory practices, some more serious than others, and some that kind of just stoked the fire for the next people. But it's also been a year where so-called fans have become a little too convinced that they own their favorite franchises and characters, and that to me has become a sickeningly annoying part of gaming culture. I mean, I hate to even call it that, but to a point where it's like, if this isn't in the game, I'm not playing it, or this needs to be changed, or I'm not playing it. And this like angry mob mentality that happens whenever one thing doesn't go somebody's way has got to stop. And I've said it ad nauseum, like, you don't own your favorite franchise and you don't own your favorite characters. And another buddy of mine has said the same exact thing. Like, if we let the top 5 fans of whatever franchise, let's say it's Dark Souls or Halo or Red Dead Redemption or whatever, make the next game, we would just get the same game. We would get Dark Souls 1 remastered, or we would get Red Dead Redemption, the original one, remastered, or we would get Halo 3 or Halo Reach, if it's me, remastered. I'm
fine with all of those things.
I'm not. I want to see series take like smart, courageous risks with certain mechanics, and this doesn't mean tack on a fucking multiplayer mode that nobody's gonna play that's like half-assed in pretty much every stretch of the imagination. This doesn't mean tack on a battle royale mode because it's the flavor of the month. This doesn't mean include a mobile app companion because you think that's going to be the next thing, because integrating with social helps you get ad clicks and revenue. I'm a very strong proponent of like, hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I feel like Mass Effect 3 did a great job capitalizing on Mass Effect 2 in pretty much every way while still maintaining to the core gameplay mechanics. Mass Effect 2 completely changed what Mass Effect 1 did and made it an actually playable third-person shooter on top of a phenomenal RPG and on top of a phenomenal story. And Mass Effect 3 did a little bit of some fine-tuning while wrapping up a story that, while the ending wasn't for everybody, I think the director's cut more than made up for that, and I was totally fine for it. And I will fucking absolutely die on that hill any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Again, you know where to find me. So, but the fact of the matter is that we've seen, and you could probably look up any game, any major franchise that has been released this year, and find an example of it, of people, jumping all over developers and like jumping down the throats of people and sending them death threats and shit because they don't like a feature in a game. And that shit's
Tom, look at me. Look at what I said about God of War.
Yeah, I know.
And look at what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And, Rob refused to even entertain the thought of like watching a fucking trailer for God of War because it was too close to the shoulder. And like I don't know, it blows my mind, but like that's like a fucking hair on the ball sack of the example that I'm talking about. Like the fact that we've seen it at such a sickening scale, it's going to make developers scared to make any changes, and then we're not going to get anything. We're going to get Madden, which is the same fucking game every year. So, and I don't want to see my favorite franchises die out like that. On the other hand, I think that we've seen an unprecedented level of engagement and content with some of the biggest developers on Earth who are really keeping their hand on the pulse of what the rational fans want to see, and they're actively trying to make changes. There have been a lot of game franchises that I've completely given up on in the past that have since kind of went through little renaissances for themselves. You've heard me talk about them on the show before. I really don't think I need to kind of retread. But we're seeing developers really really care about what certain people think. I think that making games more accessible and more entertaining for people to watch is a phenomenal thing. I think that the Game Awards is better than it's ever been, and it's phenomenal for gaming as an art form in general. And I just don't think that there's ever been a better time to be in this industry or be a content creator or be anywhere else. I'm sure every top tier level of talent, whether you're a top tier developer or producer or director or content creator for video games, wouldn't trade their form of media for the world. And yeah, that's me.
I literally can't say anything else.
You asked, I told
Gee,
you.
thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
I mean, you murdered that. Absolutely murdered that. I think this year, gaming as the industry that we all knew it was going to be, I think this was the year where it popped. And I think this is where it became so interesting. And like you said, Dom, developers are actually paying attention now. They're not giving up. They're listening to what these big names have to say. They're listening to what the players have to say. And there's games that make changes on the fly. They'll post something new and the community doesn't like it. There's a change, there's a patch for it a couple hours later. Like they're watching, they're paying attention. And like you said, if there are people who are taking it a little too, like everyone's opinion matters, but as sucky as it sounds, to an extent in this case scenario, your opinion really doesn't fucking matter. It's like one little thing is going to keep you from buying a game that you love so much that you can stop playing it. That's like a catch-22. It doesn't make sense to me. You're going to try something new in this game. I don't agree with it, but I love this game so much that I'm not going to play it because of that change. Makes fucking no sense to me. If you care about a franchise to that extent and they're taking that calculated risk to make something different and not have everything be so black and white, they're trying to do something different. If that was the case, no one would ever try to drop a battle royale again. You know what I mean? It's like everyone, like Blackout, for instance, yeah, it wasn't the best, but like we had fun playing it to an extent. If they didn't take that risk, they would have never knew that they weren't the franchise to do it. I think it's a beautiful thing that they're taking these calculated risks, even if not everyone likes it. That so is life. Not everyone's going to like what you do. You got to stand by your product. You're passionate about it. People love it. So stand by what you do. Who gives a fuck what the people have to say? But as a whole, gaming has become so fucking enjoyable to watch and entertaining. The video game awards are better than they've ever been. Like Dom said, you could go on Twitch and you can find people that make you don't even want to turn on your TV because they're so entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
I think the time we live in now for gaming has turned it into an absolute juggernaut, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here because it feels like the tippity top right now, but obviously it's not. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the new expansion for Fallout 76, Fallout 76.5, another 120 gig update. The game's still going to be broken. Rurikhan, what do you think?
I mean, first I'd like to address one thing, which is the Mass Effect 3 thing, because I get a lot of shit for liking that game too. And here's one comment that I would like to talk about Mass Effect 3, which is a lot of people criticize. What do they criticize about that game? The ending. The ending.
Yeah.
And what pisses me off is like, yeah, the ending wasn't great. But guess what? I completely agreed with my ending because I did the multiplayer stuff. And I got the 100% reinforcements or whatever it was. I forget the actual name. And then when it came to the actual end, I picked the red ending. So I was like, nah, dude, exterminatus, no robots, no nothing, everything goes.
Yes.
And I was happy with that ending. Like, I don't think the ending was particularly interesting, but I was like, I'm good. But more importantly than the ending of that game, I think it is important to mention that what should matter to you is the journey that you take throughout the game. And I thought the journey, at least my journey through Mass Effect 3 was awesome. Yeah, I loved it.
I agree. I did the same exact thing. I have, and I'm, go ahead. Sorry.
And I'm someone that actually lost Garrus on Mass Effect 2. So I have like a save file all the way from Mass Effect.
You did? Wait, what did you do?
I lost Garrus. So I played Mass Effect 3 without Garrus because, like, no, I will take my, like, I got beat in Mass Effect.
Hold on one second. Did you at least go back and play it again with Garrus?
No.
Oh, I gotta go.
I think I'm gonna be sick.
No, dude, I just accepted my loss, dude. It was just
Look
like,
at them keep going.
It's the consequences, you know, because like I made a mistake and he died. And although I do have to say, I feel like the mistake I made was something that was probably not great with Mass Effect 2. But either way, I love Mass Effect 2 as well. But getting back on topic, I just had to talk about that. Getting back on topic, I actually think that last year, in my opinion, was a much better year because we saw the release of the Switch, which has quickly become potentially my favorite console. Because you get to play it on the big screen and you get to take it with you if you want. It's just a device that I really like. We saw the release of amazing titles, like you said yourself, Breath of the Wild. We saw Persona 5. We saw Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I don't know how many people here even know that much about that game. But I'm just a sucker for Xenoblade Chronicles. And there was a bunch of other really fantastic titles, like Nier Automata came out last year, right? Am I not mistaken? Yeah,
it did.
Yeah.
Dude, Nier Automata is again one of my favorite franchises that came out. That was like number 2 on my game of the year list. So it's like I feel like last year we got a lot more games, despite the fact that one of my favorite games of all times came out this year. So in a way, this year is also good. The problem that I feel this year is that there is happening a bit of a disconnect in the industry. So you guys are talking about how there's a lot of gamers that are enraged and they're just like, mad rage about, oh, this game doesn't have this, I hate it, or whatever. And there is a lot of that. But at the same time, I feel there is a complete disconnect from the industry itself. Like you have Blizzard, for instance, go on stage at BlizzCon and they tease everybody about a Diablo announcement. And I'm someone that put God knows how many hours into Diablo 2. Not as much on 3, but like 2 was the game that I would be like in school, and I would be in the little spreadsheet typing out like builds for my barbarian or builds for my necromancer. I'd be planning that stuff out, right? And so I was super addicted to that. And when they started teasing, oh, there's going to be a Diablo announcement at BlizzCon, it's going to be amazing, it's going to be all of this stuff. And then what happens? They go out on stage as their final announcement for BlizzCon, and they announce a friggin' mobile game? Like, what the hell is that? What were they even thinking? Like, sure, you can announce a mobile game if you want, but you can't make a big deal about it because your core audience is PC gamers and, to some extent, console gamers. It's like nobody cares about Diablo Immortal. I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be a fantastic game. It's going to do great for them, but it's a complete disconnect from their fan base. And I kind of feel kind of the same thing happened to Battlefield 5. I'm not a Battlefield 5 guy, but I feel like that same disconnect happened there where you have the publishers saying, oh, you don't like our game? Don't buy it. And then people like, okay, so they don't buy the game. And then they turn around, they're like, you sexist, misogynist bigot. You're like, well, what the hell? You got to make up your minds. I mean, you told people not to buy it. So it's like, what's the big deal? Why are people misogynists and bigots if they're not buying your video game? I don't
well, the problem is that there's a lot of overlap with that, unfortunately. So it's, it's a lot. There is a little bit of overlap with that, but I do agree with voting with your wallet. You know what I mean? Like, Put your money where your mouth is, or don't, and don't support the game if you don't want to play it. If you don't want to play it, don't buy it. If Blizzard makes $1 billion off Diablo Immortals, which they will, we're gonna get another mobile game, and that's what's gonna happen.
Dude, we're gonna get Warcraft Go. Didn't you see the articles talking about that? I'm not even joking.
Dude, I know. And I've been playing WoW since like 2004, and like I wish. Fuck, I didn't even realize that we're like already crawling up on like an hour, but like I wish we could talk about WoW too. Really quick though, hold on, before we go any further, I just scrolled through my Instagram because I know I posted it. All 100% for Mass Effect 3 as well. I'm right there with you. I don't know if you can see him or if it's too blurry. And then this is actually I don't even know what that is.
Tom, was that you in a thong? What's up?
Yeah, that was me. That was actually Bob's leaked foot pictures. And then and then look at that, bang! Oh, there, 100%, baby. So that I did the same exact thing. They go, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Scorched Earth, motherfucker. Let's get them all out of here." And I said, "Edie, I'm sorry. Legion, I'm sorry. Like, give me a hug before you go. But we're hitting the kill switch on these motherfuckers." And then what happens after the credits? Shepard survives. So
exactly, it was the only ending where Shepard actually survived, and I thought, that's not bad.
Listen, we'll rebuild. We'll rebuild. We're good. We'll build some new microwaves. We're fine.
Microwaves. Wow. Yeah, you guys heard about the new thing with the iPhone that if you put your phone in the microwave and put it on for a minute, it'll charge it to 100%.
I hate you.
Shut the fuck up. Who's ever listening to this right now, don't ever listen to anything that comes out of Chris's mouth. Okay? Don't ever listen to that. All right.
But yeah, I just kind of feel that there's definitely been an increased disconnect, and it's like I'm not as optimist as I once was about the direction that the industry is taking, because we're constantly receiving more games that are unfinished. And then I see people criticize the games that are actually properly finished and deliver an experience. Like, another thing that I did this year was I went back to World of Warcraft to check out the new expansion. You know what I realized, like, fantastic start, like really good evolution on the cinematics and all that. And I was like, oh yeah, it looks great. The art of the game, all this stuff. And then when I hit the end content, right? What was the end content? It was doing the same thing over and over for one RNG loot box at the end of the week. Every week I would go into that goddamn box and I would open it up, and it was filled with disappointment. is what
Yep.
that box had. And it just got increasingly frustrating. Like, I canceled my subscription last week. And that's the same thing that happened, for instance, with Destiny 2. Like, when I played Destiny 2 on launch, what happened? I did the story and it was fine. It was great. Had fun. Then I started doing the end game, even did the raid, did all of the things. And then what did I do at the end? It was like the powerful engrams thing, which I'm assuming is the same thing that people are doing today. And one of the things that really frustrates me, right, is that a game like Monster Hunter World comes out, and a lot of people have been saying, oh man, this Monster Hunter was really weak. I only got like 300 hours out of it. And I'm just like, thinking,
what the fuck? What am I, just a pussy or something? I only have like 200 hours.
You want to
it's
answer
like
that?
I'm just scratching my head. I'm just scratching my head and thinking like, wait, so you're complaining that you only got 300 hours worth of enjoyment out of I don't understand your argument, but even though, like, the thing is, you got 300 hours because Monster Hunter World does not artificially gate your content.
Well, don't say
Like,
Rob didn't get 300 hours.
Yeah, but
Can we
whatever.
stop fucking talking about this? All right, I get it. You guys are
However-
fucking shoving my face in the dirt.
However many hours you've played of Monster Hunter, the whole point is that it doesn't artificially gate your content. It's kind of like, okay, you want to do this activity, you want to grind this monster, you want to craft this gear, you can do it. Play as many hours as you want, and the game will continue to give you the items and the materials to upgrade your gear and to further evolve your character, right? Whereas in Destiny, for instance, it's like, no, you're limited. You get your, 1, 2, 3 powerful engrams a week. That's what you get. You get your 1 raid a week. That's what you get. Same thing in World of Warcraft.
Yeah,
you
same
get
thing.
like
You get
your
your
mythical
dailies, you get
chest
your weeklies,
once a
yep.
week. That's what you get. You get nothing else.
Dude,
right?
I'll tell you something.
And
With World of Warcraft, something that I noticed a huge disconnect, and I actually just did the same thing that you did, and I jumped back in because I can't remember what even came out, but I started playing. I don't even. I won't even pretend to act like I can remember. But I dropped out of Battle for Azeroth sometime before the very end. Like, I was towards the end. I was like halfway through the last of the 3 regions in Stormsong and Kultiris. And, I had all the war campaign up done to where I needed to be. So I'm like, all right, I'll go finish the main story, and then I'll go from there. So I immediately, like, let's call it 10 hours later. I mean, I guess not immediately. Let's call it 10 hours later. I grind the rest of the storylines out. I do whatever dungeons they need me to do. It takes me like 2 weeks because they gate the content, like you were saying.
yeah,
They gate the content, and then I hit a fucking wall where it's like, you need to get your rep up to even finish the war campaign, and then you need to get your item level up to get to do the last fucking mythic dungeon to finish the actual story in the regular vanilla game. And at this point, they haven't given me enough gear from regular play to even play heroic dungeons. I still can't even do heroics. And this is somebody I've probably put, I don't even want to think about how many hundreds of hours I put into Legion alone, because Legion's probably one of my favorite World of Warcraft expansions, honestly. And I know that's probably not everybody's opinion, but Legion, in terms of sheer engagement and how much I fucking poured into that game, Legion was the most fun for alts by far. The class campaigns were unfucking believable. If you got sick of playing on one character, it's like, dude, fire up another campaign. You're a warrior. You go to Valhalla. You get to fight alongside the best characters in the game that you've been playing with for 10 some odd years. And never have I felt more appreciated as a fan of World of Warcraft. And when I talked to the guys at PAX East, when I talked to the developers about Battle for Azeroth, I thought we were going to get the same thing. But for some reason, we're at this point where I'm like, why the fuck am I at a bottleneck when there's still so much content to do? Just let me play it. I don't know. I've never been so confused.
yeah. And here's the thing too, which is then you're basically left to complete RNG. You didn't even get to the point where you're grinding the mythic chest, but it's like, basically there's this 3 special pieces of armor that you get with Battle for Azeroth, which give you they give you the talent tree. It's almost like a new talent tree through 3 pieces of armor, but different pieces have different talents, and you want a certain talent.
Yeah.
So as a warrior, specifically a protection warrior, you need 1 talent. Out of all of the talents that were available, you need to have 1 of them. And it doesn't matter if that gear piece is like 100 item levels below an upgrade, you can't take it out because you need
you're
that
dog
1 talent
shit without
point
it.
to take. And it was so frustrating because I did it week after week after week after week, and the chest, it was RNG, and so it just wouldn't give it to me.
Dude, that's
And
yeah.
that's the thing, the gating of it. So ultimately, it's like, sure, people will potentially play more hours of World of Warcraft. People will potentially play more hours of Destiny. And with that, I could name, I don't know, 1,000 other MMO lights that are out there right now. So people feel like, I'm playing this game more. So whatever. And then they say that they don't play Monster Hunter that much because it didn't gate you, because you went through the whole content.
Yeah.
Because it never stopped you.
Destiny,
at any point. It didn't tell you stop playing now. You need to take a break so that you don't level up your character too fast, so that you don't upgrade your items too fast. It's like, no, they just let you do everything.
Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Yeah, it's nice to have I actually, one of my favorite graphics online is, it's like a picture of a cheeseburger, fries, and a shake, and it says, video games 10 years ago. It's like a nice full meal. And then it's a graphic of like bun, lettuce, tomato, patty, and then other bun, and then ketchup and mustard. And it's like core game is like the buns, and then it's like DLC, and then like pre-order exclusive. And it's so true. Like, games are so piecemeal, and even if games are shipping...
There's a new one now. There's a new one of those memes right now where it's there's a box underneath that says Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's one of those challenge burgers that's just stacked.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. And that's the thing, is that some games will ship complete, but they'll still gate you with the content. Like, there's so much shit to do in Battle for Azeroth, and I was like, wow, I felt like I've never been this overwhelmed with quests. But even when I was done with them, for some reason I still wasn't geared enough, and because they want you to grind the dungeons and play those over and over and over and over and over. And there's so many motherfucking trash mobs in these dungeons. There's more trash in BFA dungeons than I've seen in a while. You can't cruise through them.
Trash is the actual boss.
Yeah, the trash are the bosses, and I was like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, there's not enough cleave in the game to actually get through the trash in a reasonable amount of time. And if you think I'm doing this on Mythic, you're out of your fucking tree. So, I mean, it's really frustrating because I want to play it, and I want to see these awesome cutscenes, and I want to get to the end content. I think the Argus expansion in Legion was so cool, and the last raid, when I finally got to do it, I mean, I pretty much did it in LFR because I don't have a raiding guild. I was like, damn, this is so badass. Like, we're going to get to this final conflict, and it's like this all puts a nice little fucking bow on it. And then there's a big dumb sword in the middle of the world, and we got to go address that shit. And, it was a blast. It was a blast doing it, but I feel like I shouldn't have to wait 2 or 3 months for content to get old so that it's actually doable, so that I can actually do it without wanting to pull my goddamn eyelashes out when I'm queuing up for it. So, I don't know. Yes, that is for that reason why this year has been very frustrating, but it's also not a new issue.
Gee, tell us how you really feel, Dom.
Dude, my fucking blood pressure's high. I'm hungry. I want to eat dinner. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just...
Your face is beat red right now. You're passionate. I like a passionate.
That's called
man.
high blood pressure. I gotta go see somebody for this.
Dom, I have a question. Do you have like another 10, maybe 15 minutes to spare for a little Zoltan Bob's Guess My Game?
Yeah, I mean, we could make some time for that. We could cruise through it.
All right. So let me explain to everybody who is just listening now for the first time. Rurikhan, I'll explain it to you. Zoltan Bob's Guess My Game. I have a game up here in my head that I'm thinking about. You guys have 19 yes or no questions to try to figure out what game I am thinking of. And then on the 20th question, or before, if you figure it out beforehand, you get to ask, is this game blank? That's it. Simple as that.
All right, let's get this bread.
So, whenever you guys are ready, start rifling off questions.
Was this game made after 2004?
Yes.
Ooh.
Is it a multiplayer or single player game?
Has to be yes or no
Yes,
question.
it has to be yes or no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it a single player game?
There you go.
Yes.
Nice.
Do you play as a human in this game?
Ozma.
Yes.
Oh god, that was one I was gonna ask. Now I'm throwing for a loop, Dom. Why'd you do this to me?
Is it a platformer?
There you go.
Yes.
Jeez, good question.
Wow, dude. Wow. You guys are lucky you got fucking backup this week.
What's Chris? What was it after 2004?
After 2004, yeah. Is this a console exclusive?
No.
Okay.
Fuck. Is this game 2D?
Platform with a human that is...
Sorry, what was that, Dom?
Is this game 2D? I guess I should rephrase this. Is this game a side scroller?
No.
Okay.
Well, side scrollers can also be 2.5D. Like
what
this is completely unrelated to what I'm talking about, but they can also be 2.5D, like Double Dragon and Contra, I believe, where you're not just going left and right. You can also go forward
That's what I
in
meant.
certain
That's
sections
like,
of the game.
yeah, I would have considered that like a side scroller too. That's why I rephrased it. So not a side scroller.
Yep.
Okay.
Human platformer. Is your character female?
No.
How many questions are we at, by the way?
7.
I've got human platformer, single player, after 2004, not a side scroller, and male. So that's 6.
I have 7. Tom, you do this every fucking week. You know what? I'm running the VOD back. I'm sick of this. You're skimping me on a question every fucking week. I'm getting a little sick of this.
You have
I'm
the
gonna
one
run
that's
the
got a
VOD
history
back.
of being. You have the one that's got a history of being wrong. Kid thinks cameo elements of power is a role playing game.
Bye. Ask a question.
Rurikhan, is cameo elements of power a role playing game?
Here, I'm counting that as a question. Yes.
What?
Have you ever played cameo elements of power on Xbox 360?
No.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it was a launch RPG for the game for the console.
it was an action platformer. Is this
RPG.
game is shooting a primary mechanic in this game?
No.
Okay. All right, Chris, you got question number 8.
What do you mean?
That was question number 7.
All right. You know what? I'll give it to you because you're just not gonna get it. Let's go.
Okay.
It does. I'm not very well versed in platformers, so we might not get it. I was actually gunning for Super Mario Odyssey, but when you said it's not a console exclusive, completely threw me off.
It's all good because Chris is only versed in Counter-Strike and Black Hawk Down.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, that's what I'm here for. Is this game based off of a licensed product?
No.
So tricky, dude. Like, is it an indie game?
Oh, you gotta think about it.
Define indie for me. Not double or triple A, I guess. I don't
Use
know.
it in a sentence.
Like, I don't know. Define indie. I mean, is it like a smaller game? Okay, is it a triple A game instead of is it an indie? There you go. Is it a triple A?
No.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
Not a triple A.
Was this game part of a
Is it a
series?
3D game? Oops.
No.
Go for Doms.
No.
It's not part of a series?
It is not.
Dude, this feels like it's a really obscure game at this point. It's like you went to Steam Greenlight or something and just pulled off a random game.
Steam Greenlight. Oh my god. Yeah.
Wait. Oh,
I didn't think this one was that difficult.
okay.
Oh, okay. I see the wheels turning. I like this.
I mean, I'm thinking about something.
Like, I have to keep these at like middle school level for Chris specifically.
That's so kind of you.
Yeah, no problem. Because otherwise, it would never happen.
I gotta sneeze. Hold on. I gotta mute myself.
You specifically said it's not part of a series.
Correct.
That's right.
Damn. Then that throws me off again. Platformer.
After 2004, but it's not exclusive to one console.
Human male. Damn. man, it's just like I keep thinking of games, and then like one of the other things just like catches on to it.
Yeah. And it's only single player. I'm not talking to you, Rob. You guys, is that what he said? It's only single player?
Yeah, it's single player.
I don't know. I don't know, boys. I don't know. I'm struggling here.
Single player male protagonist platformer.
Is that a boy? You're supposed to Google it, but keep it to yourself that you're doing it. No,
No, dude.
I literally
no.
at no point have we ever played this, and I thought to myself, no, they're definitely not Googling it now.
I just take notes. I just take notes.
Yeah, right. No.
Human platformer, single player, not a side scroller.
I take notes into the Google search bar and accidentally press enter every here and there.
Yeah, 18 tabs open for every question you've asked.
I mean, that'll be the smart thing to do.
Is this game I don't fucking know.
Dude, the single thought that this might be a game that is somewhat known, because you're saying that this is a middle level question, it's eating away at me inside right now.
Oh my god!
Is this game critically acclaimed?
No, actually, no. I can. I'll elaborate a little bit more. It was not at launch, at least.
This is the most difficult game in the world.
What the hell?
Okay.
Is it a 3D game?
Yes.
Let's see. 3D game.
Single player.
Single player. It was not initially well received at launch.
Male protagonist. How many questions are we at again?
Hold on, Dom. Let's hear what you have right now.
I might have lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay, good.
5, 6,
Great.
7,
We're at
8,
12.
9, 10,
Now I can really trust the validity of you keeping track.
I have 12 as well.
That's all I need. That's all I needed, Dom.
I have 12 as well. You fucking twat. I have 12.
Yep, that's
as well.
all I needed. Thank you.
Is this game by? Is this game by? What can I? How do I word this? Was this game on the original Xbox?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, then I'm never gonna know. I didn't play the original Xbox.
Was this game?
It wasn't just on the original Xbox, though.
Was this a Tim Schafer game?
Yes.
I know what this is.
Yeah, this one's fucking easy. So easy.
I actually, when he said not initially well received at launch, I knew exactly what it was. Is there? I mean, do you want me to just take a stab at it? Unless you guys have the. I mean, okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Just guess it, because I'm not helping anymore.
All right. Is this game Psychonauts?
Yes.
Dominic.
Fucking pricks. Son of a bitch.
I would have.
Ow!
Nope.
I was like,
Not
where the
in a
fuck
million
is he
years.
going with this? I was because a lot of the stuff with side scrollers and platformers were like kind of contradictory, and I initially was like thinking about Psychonauts, but I didn't really think of the kid as a human, but he is. And I looked at a picture of it. I looked at like the picture of the cover art, and I was like, yep.
You want to know what the best part is? I thought Psychonauts was like an adventure game.
It's a puzzle platformer.
Yeah,
Or
it's
action puzzle platformer.
Action puzzle
something like that.
platformer. Yeah, I'd loop that in with the platformers.
So Psychonauts, released in 2005 to Microsoft, Windows, Xbox, Linux, and then was later ported to the PlayStation 2 a few months later. It was financially panned upon release, only selling like 100,000 copies, but it created such cult following, like a huge cult following for this game, that it's now receiving a modern HD remaster similar to Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. So
And there was actually an announcement of Psychonauts 2 at the Game Awards.
yeah, see, there we go.
Honestly, I could have sat here for an hour and a half, and I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have guessed it either because I don't have a big Xbox background.
I figured this game was like well known enough that people would be like, huh, platformer. Okay, I guess I could. Not well received at launch. I guess I could dig a little deeper from here. Well,
Yeah,
regardless, you guys fucking won again.
No, you got to stop thinking of better ones. That was so fucking easy.
Chris, what are you talking about?
That was the most difficult one ever.
Oh my god! All right, let's land this ship. All right, we can now do a little something we call Wicked Good Gaming. Send it. So, Rurikhan, we can give you the floor. You could shout out anybody you want to shout out. You can plug where everybody can find you, and thanks for coming on, pal.
Shout out anybody I want to shout out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just shout out myself. Screw everybody else.
Hey,
Fuck yeah, that's right.
Well, you guys can find me at youtube.com/Rurikhan. I'm assuming you'll put the link somewhere. And twitch.tv/Rurikhan because YouTube is actually getting to the point where I fucking hate it. Did you guys see the YouTube Rewind this year? What a fucking joke, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I couldn't watch like more than 2.5 minutes of it.
I'm not surprised.
It was horrible. But yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
I want to shout out me and only me. Fuck everybody else. What up?
Love it.
Love it.
I dig it. Absolutely dig it.
All right, I am going to shout out our guest, Rurikhan. Thank you for coming on. Also, thank you for creating great Monster Hunter World content that helped me get through just 200 hours of the game. I guess just fucking.
Don't worry
200
about
hours.
it. You got the expansion coming autumn next year. So.
Oh yeah, Iceborne. I can't wait. That actually looks super fucking interesting. I was talking about it.
Tough time sleeping tonight. You gotta if you put your ear up to Rob's door tonight, you just hear him mouthing to himself. They said only fucking 2 hours. Huh? 2 hours? Only 2 hours, huh?
200.
200 hours. I'm a loser. I'm a fucking loser.
I'm a fucking chump. I am a chump. Yeah. Well, shout out to you for coming on. I got nothing else, honestly.
Great.
There's really not all that much going on recently.
Big Wicked Good Gaming, send it to our pal Connor from Jim Hammer and Sons Gaming. Just started a new D&D campaign last night. Can't wait to play more of that. And also just welcomed me and Johnny Rootbeer into his Destiny 2 clan so we can actually get some content done. And he's been pretty good with coaching us to do things in a way that actually is productive so that the right loot drops. So big shout out to him. Big Wicked Good Gaming, suck it to all of the construction that's been going on my way to work. That's fucking tripled my commute over the last week. So suck it. Chris, what do you got?
So I have no one that I want to shout out. That's it.
There you go.
All right. Where do you find the podcast, Rob?
You can find us, Wicked Good Gaming, at Wicked Good Games on Twitter, at Wicked Good Gaming on everything else. Do not ask for my feet pics, or you will not get them. I'm just going to leave that at that, okay? Stop asking.
Sounds like
you can find us at Wicked Gaming at everything else. You can listen to the podcast. If you're not here live, at twitch.tv/Wicked Good Gaming. Typically Wednesdays or Thursdays. We made an exception this week for our guest on Tuesday. But if you're not here while we're live, you can find us every Friday morning on every podcast platform imaginable. There's Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, iTunes, 8 others, but the only one that's really all that important to us is Spotify because we're the top trending gaming podcast on Spotify. So, just listen to us on that. Thanks.
great. Sounds good.
Big facts.
Love you guys. We'll see you next week for episode 107. Thanks again, Rurikhan, for coming on.
Thank you guys for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah,
Peace,
man.
love.
Peace.
Peace, love, rock and roll.